Hello, ladies and gents. This is the island every superpower wants. America already nuked it once. Fredrickson is entering geopolitics or something because he's a historian. Pana is talking about things that is happening right now. Is this real life lore? No, this is Fredrickson. All right. So he's going to talk about Greenland and why people want it and why it makes sense. I think I already know why it makes sense, but yeah, it's going to be awesome. Fredrickson talking about it. Let's watch one. I think I missed a few factors and videos, right? Like I've been watching a lot of like past month or two, Maduro, this and that, geopolitics. I think I like that he's talking geopolitics, that I can react to his video.
You know, after going on tour a couple of times doing live shows, I've met tens of thousands of fans. And one of the biggest comments that I get is, I wish you were my history teacher in high school. I probably would have actually learned something. So I thought it would be cool to make a video on what it would be like if I was teaching a history class.
Oh, is that so?
And in my opinion, one of the most important things a history teacher can do is demonstrate to their class that history is important because history can be the best predictor of the future and it can help you understand current events. So today, I'm going to try to do...
That is why history is a subject, man. Why do we have to learn history so we don't fucking repeat it and we learn from it? That is the reason behind a history subject, which everybody hates apparently. They're fuck history. What am I going to do with the history? That's the thing. Kids don't know what they're going to do. And we have to teach kids how to think and how to learn. People learn about history later on. People learn about people as in me. I hated history. I hated science as a kid. And now I know too much shit about science and too many shit about history as well. Too many shit about a lot of things I didn't know as a kid. Because as a kid, like, who cares? And now, yeah, it makes sense. That's the fucked up part about being human. As a kid, you don't know how important this shit is.
Just that. Today we're talking about that time that America accidentally nuked Greenland. I mean, technically we dropped the nuke right on their coastline, but potato, potato. And then that time that we accidentally carved a massive nuclear missile launch facility in the side of a glacier inside of Greenland. And when I say accidentally, I don't mean we accidentally built it. I meant we accidentally got caught. And somewhere along the way, we're going to answer the question, why is America suddenly obsessed with buying and or taking over Greenland? I've got a news flash for you. It's not sudden. America's been obsessed with acquiring Greenland since the 1800s, and we're going to get into it right after a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Element. Okay,
yeah, it's not sudden, but Trump is blatant. He's not gonna be, shh, why are you saying it out loud? I want Greenland, and I'm gonna pay the top money for it. People are like, shh, what? That's what it is. Everybody want it, but nobody said it out loud. Yeah, well, go to original video page link or go to this link and support this channel. Really awesome channel. One of the very few channels that I genuinely like. So yeah.
Back to the video. All right, class, our story begins in 1867. The American Civil War has just ended, and the American Secretary of State, William Seward, has decided that he wants to try to purchase Alaska from Russia. Why does he want to purchase Alaska? Can he tell the future? Does he know that Alaska is going to be one of the most strategically valuable pieces of land on the entire planet? No, he does not. He pretty much wants to purchase Alaska for the sole reason so that Britain can't have it. Is it petty? Yes, but also based. In order to accomplish this, he calls upon somebody even pettier than him, the American diplomat to Russia, the legendary Cassius Clay, the most gangster politician of all time. Together, they broker a deal to purchase Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million, a whopping 2 cents an acre. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, understanding that Alaska is full of natural resources, on top of that, it is very important geographically for military strategy, it is seen as one of the greatest real estate deals of all time. But that's not really how everybody saw it in 1867 because they didn't know that yet, so they interpreted this as, we just got out of the Civil War, we're broke, and you guys are spending $7.2 million buying a frozen wasteland where nobody wants to live. What a waste of fucking money.
It's a wash. Well, why you do it then, baby Billy? Well, because I'm selfless.
William Seward, on the other hand, is not deterred. He just got one deal done.
I love that actor. I mean, I've been watching him for a long time. Tarantino, he was in Justified. He's now in Fallout. I forgot his name.
He wants to keep the momentum going. He looks around and he's like, what else can I buy? And then he sees another frozen wasteland, Greenland. He sends surveyors over there. They bring back reports. He's trying to justify to Congress of why we should buy Greenland. He's in talks with Denmark, trying to purchase it from Denmark. The word is he wants to pay $5.5 million. However, due to the public backlash from Alaska and them not wanting to buy another frozen wasteland, the deal never comes to fruition, even though he really wanted to. And this kicks off America's long-held tradition.
You know what? I don't want to pause too much, but this makes me think. You know, people say, what would I do if I go back in time? I think what people would do is they buy shit. 3-4 million, this shit is nothing in today's world. A lot of people have that money. I mean, comparatively, right? I mean, billionaires have billions. Good enough millionaires have 3-4 million. Like, oh, here, have it, right? How many Bugattis, like hundreds of Bugattis, have been sold at a multi-million? So people, if they go back in time, they'll just say, ah, fuck you, I'm going to buy Greenland for 5 million. I don't know. My children are going to be happy. I'm going to buy entire Alaska for certain money. Because you'll think like, wait a minute. That's not how it works. Okay, all you have to do is find old enough money and use it there. People will be like, oh, this is $1. Oh, this is $100 bill. It is still money, and just give $100 bills. It's a millions. People don't know if this is from future. I don't know. I think that, yeah. Because I thought of gold, but no, gold price was different back then than now. You still need a lot of gold in order to adjust for inflation. It has to be $100 bills, right? But you have to find $100 bill from that time or something, so I don't know.
Trying to buy Greenland from Denmark. Fast forward to the next time that we tried to acquire it. 1910, President Taft decides that he wants to buy Greenland. Why? Is it because he wants to be petty just so the British can't have it? No, not this time. He actually has a good plan and a good reason for wanting it. You see, a couple of years prior to this, a U.S. naval officer and historian by the name of Alfred Thayer Mann came out with his book that kind of revolutionized the world's understanding of global warfare. And this book is called The Influence of Sea Power Upon History. Now, the real quick and dirty of this book is basically he asserts the point that a large navy is better than having a large army.
You think you're so great because you have boats!
He basically makes the point that while big armies are cool, I mean, big armies are always cool, big armies also have big stomachs, and when you're talking about global warfare, you need to be able to transport large quantities of food and supplies across the planet, and you're gonna need a navy to do that, otherwise you're not gonna have a big army for long. When you really condense and boil this down, he's basically saying that trade routes, aka logistics, is the most important part of global warfare. Whoever has the best logistics is probably gonna win. So the question becomes, how do you control the trade routes? Well, you could build a gigantic navy and just have them out on the ocean roaming around 24/7, or you could identify the geographic choke points and just control the choke point where you know the enemy is gonna have to pass through, and then you could fight them there in that narrow gap. So that becomes America's global strategy, is to identify trade choke points and then own the land adjacent to those choke points, and that land functionally becomes a giant unsinkable battleship where you can harbor all of your navy and guard that choke point. You control the trade routes, you basically control the world, which is why in 1910 he tries to get his hands on Greenland, because it is one of these choke points. The only way to get from the North Atlantic and the Arctic is to travel between one of two gaps, the gap between Greenland and Iceland, or the gap between Iceland and the UK. So Taft identifies this as a choke point and he tries to buy it. He goes to Denmark and he's like, hey, we kind of want this giant frozen wasteland here, don't worry about why. We've got these 2 Filipino islands under our control. We're willing to trade those to you in exchange. Denmark refuses. So it's looking like Denmark doesn't want to sell any of its empire, but then in 1917, 7 years later, America reapproaches Denmark and is like, hey, we know you're not looking to sell Greenland. However, you have these islands over here that are now called the Virgin Islands, and we need a bunch of forward operational bases and fueling stations for our global empire's navy. Would you be willing to sell it? And Denmark is like, sure, $25 million. America purchases the Virgin Islands from Denmark for $25 million. And this kind of keeps alive the hope or the idea that maybe one day in the future, Denmark will be willing to sell Greenland as well. Fast forward the early morning hours of April 9th, 1940, Germany invades Denmark. Okay, fast forward again, lunchtime, April 9th, 1940, Germany has conquered Denmark. It took about 6 hours.
Took them one day.
Okay, that kind of sounds like I'm talking smack. I'm not. That's just factually what happened. If I was talking smack, I would be like, what the fuck is going on over in Denmark? The Polish had a post office in Danzig that managed to hold out against the Nazis for 15 hours, and your whole country folded in 6? What are you guys doing? Okay, look, I'm just saying, when the Polish mail carriers are outperforming your entire military, it's not a good look. Buh! They were ambushed and caught off guard. That's not fair. Buh! Yeah, that's cope. I'm sorry. I'm not buying the statement that the Polish mailmen had better operational intel as to what the Nazis were up to than an entire country's military. Okay, moving on. Regardless,
There is that element. Look, again, not trying to put like smack down anyone, but you could 6 hours is insane. I understand the mentality of Scandinavian countries are very different, right? But then again, like, I don't know, they should have hold out. Like, again, I've seen many videos of why that happened. I understand. But like when Federation put it that way, like a post office in Poland, hold out longer. I don't know, man. And I understand looking back at that now, like, okay, if Denmark falls, that means Greenland falls, right? And maybe this is one of the issues that America has. Let's say Russia or China somehow becomes very World War II-ish or German-like and somehow takes over Denmark. Maybe Russia took over Denmark and like, oh, Greenland is ours now. Like, at that point, I don't know. But then again, like, USA can just say, fuck you, no, it's not, and we have base here. What you gonna do? You wanna do war? I don't know.
This Greenland is now defenseless. America already wants Greenland. On top of that, they definitely don't want the Nazis taking over Greenland and putting, forward weather stations and airstrips and all kinds of shit they're going to need for war to attack the US one day. So America immediately moves in. Now, legally speaking, America has no authority to do this. Factually speaking, who the fuck's going to stop them? Because it sure as shit ain't Denmark.
Damn.
So about a year later, America decides, okay, we should probably make this, legal.
Again, insert the Dave Chappelle skit. Or you gonna do what with what army? Sell some medicine, bitches. That was a UN skit where Black Bush is talking.
So we have an excuse to actually have this humongous military presence in Greenland. Cue this man, Heinrich Kaufmann, Denmark's ambassador in the United States of America. He's living in the US when Denmark is invaded. So obviously not a huge fan of the Nazis. They just conquered his entire country. So he goes to the American government and is like, look, I'm willing to sign pretty much whatever you want. He signs the Greenland Defense Agreement, which basically just says, Denmark still owns Greenland. However, the United States can do whatever the fuck they want there. You want to build airstrips, occupy it with your military, go for it.
Say that again?
To which the American government is like, I'm sorry, you're just the ambassador. Do you have the authority to do this? Like, did the Danish government sign off on this? And he's like, no, not at all. They're actually going to charge me with high treason for this. But as far
What government? Denmark fell. You can't just pause button and resume. If Denmark fell, there is no Danish government. And the newer government, like that gap, that matters. At that point, he's the authority.
As far as I'm concerned, they're all under Nazi occupation. We can't trust anything they say. And I think this is what the king would want. So I'm going to go ahead and give you permission to do it. So you're just like one guy going rogue with no actual authority to do this on behalf of your country. They're actually going to nickname me the King of Greenland after this. Good enough for me. Send in the troops.
And they will have felt grateful and encouraged when the president expressed his hope for a speedy liberation of Denmark, and they heard the president's assurance that Greenland will remain Danish. In this world of broken treaties, they know the word of the American people and their government can be trusted.
The Danish government then goes on to charge Heinrich with high treason, tells him to come back home to face his punishment, and he's like, stays living in America for the rest of World War II. After World War II, returns home when the government is back to normal and he is welcomed as a hero. So World War II ends.
I mean, yeah, first of all, Nazis probably pressured the government and king to claim that he's a terror, he basically betrayed the country, come back. So Nazis were really saying it, not the Danish government. Danish government is like, yeah, pimp. They're probably happy in the background, right? And he's like, I don't care. Like, I hate Nazis. Yeah, there you go. Greenland is America's. There you go.
1946, now we've got a problem because Denmark kind of wants their territory back, but also America has spent a ton of money developing all of these defenses and airstrips and all kinds of shit all over Greenland. They've got a lot of money invested. They kind of want something out of it. Or better yet, to just own it as a whole. So President Truman goes to the Danish government and is like, I will give you $100 million in straight gold if you sell me Greenland.
I love gold.
To which the Danish government is like, counteroffer, we're not going to sell you Greenland. You can keep your gold, but we're willing to sign the Defense of Greenland Agreement. To which the American government is like, okay, I'm listening. What are the terms of this agreement? Well, basically, we still own Greenland, but you can go ahead and stay there, occupy it, have a huge military presence there, and more or less act like you own it, but on paper, we still own it. I'm sorry, your counteroffer is that you want me to keep all my money and then just continue occupying Greenland and act like I own it. Deal?
Damn good deal.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I don't know what's worse, Denmark's ability to defend itself from the Nazis or their negotiating ability, because that is some insane negotiating tactics.
No, it's not. They know they can't do shit. They know if America get pissed off, they won't get anything. At least this way, pretty please let us keep it. That's what's happening. If Nazis just took over Denmark in 6 hours, I mean, they're not fighting America after a nuclear bomb. Are you kidding me? It's not like they're going to drop nuclear bomb at Denmark, but there is no fighting America. That's the point. But to me, it's weird. Just sell it if that's the case. You can't defend Greenland. You can barely defend Denmark, right? What is the benefit of Greenland to Denmark? What are they getting? Like the mainland Denmark, what are they getting out of this? Is there something there that making them money or something? There has to be some pros and cons. What are they getting out of it? If America is occupying, might as well sell them.
Literally be like walking up to your dream house that's not for sale, it's not on the market. So you like go up, ring the doorbell, the homeowner answers, you're like, hey, I really like this house. I know it's not for sale. I'm gonna overpay you for it. I'll give you $10 million if you sell me this house. And the homeowner's like, counter offer, you can keep your money, I'll move out, you can move in and just act like you own the place for free. Okay, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Is this a test?
Regardless, World War II is over, so America kind of just like abandons a lot of their little military outposts that they have on Greenland, and there's really no use for it anymore. Fast forward to 1951, the Cold War's heating up, and now we're worried about the Soviets attacking. We've got Alaska guarding us on one side, we're wide open on the other side, we need another big base in Greenland. On top of that, we also want to control Greenland because man's strategy still applies, and now it's more adopted doctrine. The gaps that we talked about earlier between Greenland and Iceland in the UK actually has a term now, the GU gap. And now it's even more important because now not only does America need to control it for trade routes, they also need to control it to prevent Soviet submarines from entering the Atlantic and getting close to America. So in 1951, America launches Operation Blue Jay, where they go in and construct an entire air base, Thule Air.
The 2D map doesn't give you the full picture. Look at a globe. Go to Google and see a globe, right? Greenland sits just like a few distance away where like Arctic, like the fleet of Russia is. Greenland is very high in the north at the Arctic, like top, right? The entire Greenland is there. There's a bit distance and here's Russia's top part. Because when you see a map, it just spreads out like that. But you need to think like when it's a globe, it closes in. So Greenland sits very close to the top part where Russia basically dominates in the Arctic with its ships, with its naval bases. So Greenland is kind of important for America in that way.
Base in 104 days, which is a massive logistical flex showing off to the entire world. They make a whole documentary. They promote the holy shit out of it to show off to the Soviets. This is what we're capable of. And now we also have this air base that you're going to have to deal with if you want to fuck with us. Okay, so now we're defended by the Soviets. Everything's good. Fast forward to 1957. The Soviets have a big year. They have their first successful intercontinental ballistic missile test, and they launch Sputnik 1, which is the first satellite to orbit the planet. This scares the holy shit out of the American public and the US military because, well, I mean, they have a missile that can now reach America and they have a satellite up in the sky above our heads. They can obviously target and reach us anywhere they want. That's not actually true. They didn't really have that capability, at least not to the degree that everybody feared, but that was the fear. And this is where the Cold War era concept of mutually assured destruction, or MAD, comes into. If you don't know, is basically the concept of like, hey, America's got a bunch of nukes, the USSR has a bunch of nukes, so we're just not going to nuke each other because as soon as I detect that you're going to nuke me, I'm going to retaliate and nuke you, and then we're all dead. And this causes Alaska and Greenland to both become even more important because now they're going to be hosting early warning systems to detect Soviet missiles if they end up firing them, and that's going to give America enough time to ideally respond with their own nukes. But the problem is that in 1957, America doesn't have ICBMs yet. We're not going to have an ICBM until 1959. So the only way to maintain this mutually assured destruction is to have these early warning systems in place and to literally have the pilots and the nukes loaded on the plane. And the pilots are literally going to live and sleep on this plane, being ready to take off in a matter of minutes if they detect a Soviet missile inbound. So that's what's going on. Fast forward to 1959, America gets ICBMs. You want to know what would go great?
What kind of a fucked up life it is to live on a fucking plane for God knows how long. Maybe a nuke will come, which never did, basically. How many years did that guy live? I mean, I'm gonna guess they're gonna have shifts. A week or a week shift. A guy is gonna live for a week and then another guy comes. Has to be.
Great with our new ICBMs, a secret underground layer to launch all our ICBMs from. Well, technically it's not underground, it's gonna be under ice. We're gonna go to Greenland where there's this like mile thick ice sheet and we're going to carve a secret underground tunnel network into this ice sheet and use it to launch all of our missiles. And this is gonna be a top secret project known as Project Iceworm. And on paper, it's a brilliant idea because this is gonna be concealed under all of the ice. It's gonna be away from mainland America. So it's basically gonna be immune to a Soviet first strike because they're not gonna be able to identify where it's at. It's up in the Arctic, it's hard to get to, and even if you do get there, there's no identifying terrain features. It's just white ice wasteland absolutely everywhere. The Soviets are never going to be able to find it. Off paper, just, as a guy, as an electrician, a dude that's built a lot of stuff, the idea of building an entire nuclear base out of ice kind of seems like a stupid idea because I know this is going to be shocking to many of you. Ice fucking melts. But hey, what do I know? I mean, I'm just some dude that makes a living selling t-shirts on his YouTube channel. I'm sure the scientists and the people put in charge of trillions of tax dollars are much smarter than me, and it's going to work out fine. Let's see what happens.
We call this foreshadowing.
So in 1959, they start building this secret under ice base, and pretty quickly, the people from Denmark are like, hey, what the fuck are you guys doing? And even though America has a treaty that pretty much says they can do whatever they want on Greenland, they also can't really tell the Danish people what they're doing for a couple of reasons. One, it's a secret, and two, they're gonna be fucking pissed. You see, at this point in time, Denmark has a pretty solid stance on like, we don't want anything to do with this nuclear arms race. They're sitting there watching America and the USSR basically have a pissing contest to see who could blow up the world the best, and Denmark is like, we don't want anything to do with this because if you start building nuclear facilities on Greenland or our land or anything associated with us, we become a target. We don't want that target painted on our back, which, to be fair, is completely reasonable. So the American government is like,
Is it though? You want a target, you still got taken over by Nazis. You are in Europe. If shit happens, you're gonna be fucked. Just like Poland is fucked every single time. I get it not being part of it, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's strategically, that just makes sense. America would put it there.
okay, we'll stop. No, I'm just kidding. They fucking lie. They then proceed to turn this into a humongous PR campaign where they tell Denmark and the rest of the world that they're building something called Camp Century. And Camp Century is basically framed as one giant experiment slash showing off contest where America's gonna go in there, build this massive under ice base, showing off American logistics and American construction capability. And then once we do that, we're gonna have a bunch of people go and live in this under ice base where they never see the sun as a huge social experiment to see how people handle living underground in close quarters with one another in case people did ever have to go underground because of nuclear fallout.
Okie dokie.
Okay, now on one hand, that sounds kind of fucking stupid, but on the other hand, this is the American government, so that makes complete sense. Sure.
Is it so? Does it make sense? Wait a minute, you're Americans, capitalists who never do anything without profit. So you're wasting money building a base just to show off? And Americans like, yeah. Okay. That's a stupid. Of course, there is something behind it.
Sure, go ahead and build your underground experiment. So the Americans get to work. First things first, how are we gonna power this thing? Okay, if we have to ship diesel fuel for generators all the way into the Arctic Ocean, that's gonna be a humongous logistical strain, so that's not ideal. You know what would be cool? We could build the world's first portable nuclear reactor and then ship it to the Arctic and then install it in our fucking freezer base. Next question, how are we gonna get
you should always do that. Just build your nuclear reactor, why not?
fresh drinking water? Well, we are surrounded by ice. You can't drink ice. We got to figure out some way to melt it. So they go inside the base, they drill a gigantic hole straight down, and then just basically drop a space heater into it, and then proceed to melt the ice in the hole, basically creating a giant well of fresh glacial ice. I'm going to say that again, but slower. They're going to melt a bunch of the ice underneath their base, which is made out of ice. Absolutely nothing could go wrong. And then we're not even going to touch on the fact that, like, ancient...
Did they have no structural engineer there? Did they never employ or even ask a civil engineer how structurally this works? Because I'm sitting here as a civil engineer and I'm like, what the fuck, man? Just basic shifts alone. Like, why are you doing that? I don't know, man.
Ancient bacteria and viruses like, I don't know, the bubonic plague can all get frozen and trapped inside of glacial ice and be preserved there, and then once thawed out can be completely active and back to normal, and then that's the water that we're going to be drinking. That we're not even, we'll filter the water. It'll be fine.
There's water from a glacier.
Regardless, America's building this giant base. Okay, fast forward 1 year, 1960. Again, Soviets managed to scare the shit out of the Americans. Okay, at this point, the Soviet Union, they're not doing too hot, but they're not about to let the Americans know that. So Nikita Khrushchev comes out and he tells the Americans that they're mass producing ICBMs like sausages. And again, this scares the Americans because it potentially breaks the concept of mutually assured destruction, because America only has the capability to shoot down so many nukes that are incoming. If the Soviets, you know, manage to launch thousands of nukes all at once, and they're launching, I don't know, 50 nukes at one nuclear facility, but America can only stop 20 of them, they're still going to be able to destroy that nuclear facility, meaning America won't have time to respond with their nukes, meaning that the Soviet Union is more inclined to destroy America because mutually assured destruction is no longer intact. Okay, we can't have that, so America's got to do something. We're going to go back to old reliable. We're going to go back to having the nukes loaded on the planes with the pilots ready. The problem is ICBMs have improved over the last couple of years, and being able to have the planes in the air in 10 minutes isn't going to be fast enough because the nukes could still hit in that 10-minute gap, still destroying the concept of MAD. So now the only thing America can do is launch Operation Chrome Dome, one of the greatest names for a mission ever, where America is just going to have planes in the air 24/7 all day, every day.
I was about to say that, but when he said like, oh, a guy sleeping in a plane, I'm like, I remember like during this time, a plane was always in the air. Like there's always a nuclear plane flying. That was the thing. That blew my mind when I first learned it. Just process it. You're living in Cold War time, and right now there's a fucking plane flying with a nuclear warhead all the time because it might need to drop it on Soviet Union. That shit is next level.
For years. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. We actually did this. We loaded nuclear warheads onto B-52 heavy bombers and just had them doing hot laps around the entire continent of North America all day, every day, 24/7. That way the planes are
By the way, the Greenland, north of here, is where Russia's fleet is. Same thing with Alaska in here, Russia, because it's a globe, not a 2D flat surface. Right? So Greenland is very important because of this. Because in here, where Russia's majority Arctic things are. So Greenland is important, so is Alaska. So it circles here, so you can just go from here, wherever, towards Russia.
Continent of North America all day, every day, 24/7. That way the planes are already in the air, so once America detects that the nukes are inbound, they're just going to radio the pilots, hey, we're all going to die, they fired the nukes. The pilots are going to be like, copy, they're going to change course, break out of their hot lap, and
kill them all, kill everyone. What? Kill. Oh my God. There you go.
beeline it to the USSR and bomb them back. Can you imagine having that pilot's job? Like, I'm going to go to work, it's going to be super boring, or it's going to be the apocalypse. There's no in between.
Doesn't sound so bad.
Anyways, that goes on
Imagine
for you.
that. Kill everyone. Kill. What about my wife and kids? They're already dead. Motherfucker, just fly toward Russia.
Fast forward to 1963, going back over to our secret project Iceworm, our glacier base. You're never going to believe this. We have to abandon the project because the ice is fucking melting. Luckily, obviously, this was predictable and everybody saw this coming, so they had a plan to evacuate and take out everything with them. No, I'm just kidding. They basically grabbed all the important shit. They took the nuclear reactor, all the other super important stuff, and took that back to America, and then just left a bunch of other military equipment and, radioactive waste and fuel and all kinds of other toxic shit inside the ice, thinking that the ice would just, freeze over and it would stay frozen in this glacier forever. Okay, look, I'm the most pro-America dude on the planet, but seriously, we gotta work on our pull-out game because historically speaking, we're not good at it.
You were leaving it in. Been pulling out for years, son.
So, secret ice layer.
They just saw Superman too much. Superman's fortress, that's how it is. Ice forever. No, that's not how it works.
Not gonna happen, but we do still have Operation Chrome Dome, and that's going... it's going. In 1961, there was a crash and we accidentally dropped 2 of the nukes in North Carolina. Luckily, they didn't detonate. And then in the same year, in 1961, we also accidentally dropped some on California. Luckily, those didn't detonate.
Imagine that is the point where Soviet Union launched nukes. America's like, God damn it, just when I need it.
Either. And then in 1964, same thing again happened in Maryland. Got lucky, they didn't detonate. And then in 1966, our luck would run out. On the coastline of Spain in the Mediterranean, a B-52 carrying 4 hydrogen bombs had a mid-air collision with an oil tanker that was doing aerial refueling. 2 of the bombs had their conventional explosives detonate, blowing the nuclear material all over the place, contaminating absolutely everything, and it's going to emit radiation for millions of years, so that takes a ton of extensive cleanup. One of the bombs fell on land, did not detonate, and was recovered, and the other bomb fell into the Mediterranean and is just sitting down there at the bottom of the ocean, and America has to figure out how to go get it. So Uncle Sam calls up one of his main characters, a guy by the name of Carl Brashear, the first ever black master diver in American history, who lost his leg in an accident and then went on to become the first amputee master diver in history, and they send him down to the bottom of the ocean in his dive suit, and he is able
This is insane. That old style diving suit just to get the nuclear reactor. This is ridiculous shit. What is happening right now? We're sending a diver to recover a nuclear reactor from the bottom of the ocean. He wears that like the big thing.
recover this nuclear warhead. There's an entire movie about this guy. It's one of my favorite military movies of all time. It's called Men of Honor with Cuba Gooding Jr. You should absolutely watch it if you haven't already. Fast forward again, 1968, Operation Chrome Dome. B-52 pilots are flying thermonuclear warheads that are active off the coast of Greenland. They're headed up into the Arctic. It's getting kind of cold in the cabin, and one of the pilots has a brilliant idea to keep it warm in there. He's gonna, adjust some shit in there, and he's gonna have hot air from the engine manifold flow directly into the cabin. The air comes coming into the cabin is so hot that it catches the upholstery of the chairs they're sitting on fire, and the crew is forced to bail out. The plane crashes, the conventional explosives and the nuclear bombs detonate, blowing radioactive material all over the fucking place, and America has to go in there, and there is extensive cleanup that has to happen. On top of that, the Danish government is absolutely pissed that America's flying
Thermonuclear warheads are different, man. These are hydrogen bomb that requires heat to detonate. That's why there's a fission bomb inside. I mean, I don't know. It probably can't develop enough heat on its own just by crash. But hydrogen bomb has a real world element. Like if the explosion have enough heat in it, or somehow detonates it, a hydrogen bomb could go off. But then again, I don't know how much, what would create that much heat. There's a reason it requires a fission bomb in order to trigger a fusion bomb. So what would be the case that triggers that much heat that it triggers fusion bomb? But every time a hydrogen bomb is transferred, there's a real world element, it might go off. Fission bomb doesn't have that element. People are like, oh my god, a nuclear bomb drop is going to detonate. No, a fission bomb cannot detonate that way. Fission bomb requires a trigger, right? A fusion bomb, so enough heat, yeah, it could.
Nuclear warheads over their territory when they specifically told us that they wanted nothing to do with that, and this leads to the end of Operation Chrome Dome.
We need it for national protection. We need Greenland for national protection.
Fast forward to modern times, both 2019 and today, Donald Trump...
Yeah, I think I said that the first time I talked about Greenland and a reaction. Oh, how I'm right every single time. It has to do with something with the nuclear things. Nuclear deterrence, nuclear, like, you know, like Golden Dome. Trump didn't just say Golden Dome and just went to sleep. That shit is still going on. It's probably accelerated because he has to finish before he leaves the office. Otherwise, next guy will have fuck Golden Dome. So they probably need Greenland for that, right? There's a reason why Space Force is in Greenland. Space Force is detached from Air Force. It's amplifying probably.
Trump, during both of his presidential terms, has attempted to acquire Greenland. Why does he want Greenland? Well, for all of the reasons that we've already highlighted in this video, all of those are still relevant. But why does he want it right now? Why is it so important right now? In the 1800s, it was important to acquire it so that we could be petty so the British couldn't have it. In World War II, it was important that we had it so the Nazis couldn't have it. During the Cold War, it was important that America had it so the Soviets couldn't have it and be within striking distance of America, and America could instead use it to defend itself from the USSR. So why is it so important today?
China.
It's China.
China. China. China. China. China. China.
China has been
I
showing
like every time he says, he put very heavy emphasis on China. There you go. It's not China, it's China. It's everything is about China. China's getting too powerful, that's what it is.
Interest in Greenland since about 2010. They've offered to build airports on the island. They've offered to help build infrastructure. They've tried to acquire mineral mining rights. They're basically trying to work their way into Greenland so that they have a foothold there as well. And America doesn't.
The balls of China, man. I don't know why it does that. Does it really think people are not going to be pissed off? They're doing the same shit with India. Trying to put foothold in Sri Lanka, which is basically touching India. You can see Sri Lanka from the coast. It's just there. And China's like, probably going to be fine. Yeah, India's not going to be okay with this for obvious fucking reason. Now they're trying to do same thing with America at Greenland. You think America's going to be, China's in Greenland, it's going to be fine. No, they're probably going to blow the shit out of everything, cause war if needed be, but not going to let China that close. What are you talking about?
Doesn't want that for obvious reasons. Because of that, America tried what America's always tried. They tried to buy Greenland. And just like always, Denmark said no, and now they've went to the negotiating...
I like how indubitably Trump had that theme song, money, 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 money. That was... That's Trump basically. He should always play his Doubly theme song. That's what it is. I still remember 2010 or something, WrestleMania, Bobby Lashley against Umaga, and Trump was there. I still remember that shit.
Table to come to some kind of agreement.
Was it 2010? I think it was around that.
I don't know what's going to happen yet, but from what we've heard, it sounds like they're just reaffirming the 1951 Defense of Greenland Agreement, and America's going to be allowed to maintain or potentially grow its military presence on the island with missile radars and troops and all kinds of other stuff, and then potentially they're going to talk about mineral rights. If I had to go out and guess, I would say the Trump administration is going to try to buy the mineral rights for Greenland, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say Denmark is going to say no, but we will agree to also not sell the mineral rights to China, Russia, or anybody else. If so facto, history repeats itself. America has a reason for wanting Greenland. America offers to buy Greenland. Denmark says no, keep your money. We keep owning it, but you can pretty much do whatever you want. And that is today's history lesson. History is important to know because it is the best predictor.
Like always, fucking great video, because I'm pretty sure something like that happened with recently. Trump's like, oh, mission accomplished. People like, what a weak ass guy. He just backed off. Did he really back off? Or did he got what he wanted in the first place with some deal?
For the future. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack, bang, out. All right, fine. You talked me into it. I'm going to go watch Men of Honor.
Yeah. Some next. Look, man. Right now, there are many ICBMs. Even India has it with Agni 5, which no defense in the world can practically work, even with the early detection systems. I know you think it does, but the error rate is immensely high. Like, China has a 36 Mach or something speed ICBM. So does USA, around that, 36, 39. India also has like 30 Mach or something, Agni 5 or something. These are too fast ICBMs. You can detect it, you can try to stop it, but the error rate is immensely high. ICBMs will pass through these top level ICBMs. These are the latest ICBMs the world has, like China, India, Russia. USA can't stop that 100%. And hence comes the Golden Dome. They're trying to put weapons and laser system in space to stop this shit. This is why China's like, oh, you're doing something which will destabilize the global security. Why? Because USA will be the first country in the world where no missile can ever pass through USA. And USA doesn't have to fear any nuclear bombs. That's what Golden Dome is. And USA successfully, if they need to do Golden Dome, they need Greenland. In the Arctic, they need Alaska. They need multiple places like this. So Greenland is important for Golden Dome. That's what it is. All right, well, if you like my lesson, don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you next time.